What if I told you that one man's 2-cent-per-acre gamble in 1853 would become worth over $10 billion today? What started as a steamboat captain's wild dream has transformed into an empire that makes most billionaire estates look like hobby farms. This is the story of King Ranch, and what they've accomplished over 170 years will completely change everything you thought you knew about American agriculture. The impossible beginning. Nobody believed in picture this. It's 1853, and a weathered steamboat captain named Richard King stands in the middle of 15,500 acres of brutal South Texas grassland. The land looks like a punishment from God himself, nothing but endless scrub brush, rattlesnakes, and dust devils dancing across terrain so harsh that even the Comanche avoided settling there permanently. King paid less than 2 cents per acre for this wasteland, and every single person who knew him thought he'd lost his mind. The local ranchers laughed openly at the steamboat captain who thought he could make a living off land that couldn't support more than a handful of cattle per 100 acres. This wasn't prime agricultural property. This was where dreams went to die under the relentless Texas sun. But Richard King saw something nobody else could see. An agricultural empire built on land that everyone else had written off as worthless. He was about to prove every doubter catastrophically wrong. Today, King Ranch spans 825,000 acres across South Texas. That's larger than the entire state of Rhode Island. If you wanted to walk the perimeter fence line, you'd cover approximately 1,800 miles, roughly the same distance as walking from New York City to Denver. The ranch maintains its own zip code, operates its own fire department, and manages over 35,000 head of cattle at any given time. But cattle ranching tells only a fraction of this story. The secret underground ocean, worth billions. Here's where the King Ranch story takes a turn that'll make your jaw hit the floor. While everyone focused on counting cattle and measuring grass production, the real treasure was hiding underneath the entire time. King Ranch sits directly on top of the Goliad Sand Formation, one of the most massive freshwater aquifers in North America. We're not talking about a few wells or some underground springs. This aquifer contains an estimated 2.5 billion gallons of pure, pristine fresh water. That's enough water to supply a city the size of San Antonio for over 5 years without a single drop of rain. In an era where water is becoming more valuable than oil in the American West, King Ranch literally owns an underground ocean. But here's what really separates them from every other agricultural operation in America. They own the complete mineral rights to the entire aquifer. Every single drop of that 2.5 billion gallons belongs to them. While cities across Texas are fighting over water rights and farmers are watching their wells run dry, King Ranch controls enough fresh water to supply major metropolitan areas for generations. Water rights in the Southwest are selling for thousands of dollars per acre-foot, and King Ranch has rights to enough water to make Middle Eastern oil sheiks jealous. The day they struck black gold by accident. If the water story sounds incredible, wait until you hear what happened in 1939. King Ranch managers were drilling for water to support their growing cattle operation. At 6,585 feet, they hit water all right. Except it wasn't water. It was oil. They'd punched straight into one of the largest oil fields in South Texas history, the Stratton Agua Dulce Field. Humble Oil Company, which would later become part of Exxon, immediately negotiated a lease agreement that historians still call one of the most lucrative deals in petroleum industry history. Within a decade, over 1,000 oil and gas wells were pumping across King Ranch property. Today, approximately 800 active wells continue producing, generating tens of millions of dollars annually in royalty payments that require virtually no management oversight from the ranch. But the underground story gets even more incredible. Deep beneath King Ranch property lie massive salt dome formations that the federal government uses for the Strategic Petroleum Reserve. The United States stores millions of barrels of emergency oil supplies in caverns carved into King Ranch salt formations. King Ranch collects lease payments from the U.S. Department of Energy for this arrangement. They're essentially landlords to America's energy security program, the cattle breed that changed global agriculture While underground resources were generating millions, King Ranch was quietly revolutionizing the entire cattle industry above ground. In 1910, ranch managers started a breeding experiment that most geneticists said was impossible. They wanted to create cattle that could thrive in South Texas heat while producing premium beef. British cattle breeds produced excellent beef but couldn't handle Texas heat. Indian Brahman cattle tolerated the heat, but their beef quality was inconsistent. For nearly 3 decades, ranch geneticists carefully crossed Brahman bulls with shorthorn cows. In 1940, the Santa Gertrudis breed was officially recognized, becoming the first beef cattle breed ever developed in America. Santa Gertrudis cattle possess almost supernatural abilities compared to other breeds. A mature bull weighs up to 2,400 pounds and can work in temperatures that would kill European breeds. They resist diseases that devastate other cattle and produce beef with marbling characteristics that rival the finest European breeds. Today, Santa Gertrudis cattle thrive in over 60 countries worldwide, and King Ranch continues generating revenue through breeding stock sales and licensing agreements for genetics they developed nearly a century ago. The horse bloodline, worth more than most people's houses. In 1915, a sorrel-colored colt named Old Sorrel was born on King Ranch property. That single horse established a bloodline that dominates the quarter horse industry to this very day. Old Sorrel's descendants have produced champions in virtually every major competition category: cutting, reining, ranch horse versatility, and racing. Today's King Ranch quarter horse operation maintains approximately 200 breeding mares and multiple champion stallions. Stud fees for top King Ranch stallions range from $5,000 to over $100,000 per breeding. Individual horses descended from Old Sorrel have sold at auction for well over $1 million. A single horse's genetics, carefully preserved and improved over a century, is worth more than most American families will earn in a lifetime. The wind farm revolution. Nobody saw coming as renewable energy became economically viable. King Ranch proved once again they're always ahead of the curve. The ranch negotiated lease agreements with energy companies to install wind farms across their property. Today, hundreds of turbines standing over 400 feet tall generate enough electricity to power approximately 250,000 homes annually, while the ranch continues normal cattle operations on the exact same land. Here's the part that shocked everyone. After the wind turbines were installed, the cattle actually preferred grazing near the massive structures. During brutal Texas summers, those 400-foot towers create shadows and act as windbreaks. King Ranch turned their property into a power plant without sacrificing a single acre of productive grassland. The wildlife goldmine. Hiding in plain sight, King Ranch quietly became home to over 15,000 wild turkeys, over 50,000 white-tailed deer, and thousands of nilgai antelope. Premium guided turkey hunts sell for $2,500 to $5,000. Trophy white-tailed deer hunts can cost $15,000 or more. Nilgai hunts command prices exceeding $10,000. The ranch discovered that proper wildlife management generates more revenue per acre than many traditional agricultural activities. The luxury brand, built on leather and legacy. What started as an internal saddle shop in the early 1900s has evolved into a luxury brand generating millions annually. A signature King Ranch leather handbag retails for over $2,000. Custom saddles often exceed $10,000. But the real genius move came in 2000 when Ford created the King Ranch Edition F-150, featuring leather interiors and distinctive branding. The package became one of Ford's most successful specialty editions ever, and King Ranch receives ongoing royalty payments based on sales volume, making millions annually from a licensing deal that requires zero effort. The billion-dollar legacy that keeps growing. When you add up all the assets, 825,000 acres of land conservatively valued at over $4 billion, oil and gas reserves worth billions more, water rights that might be priceless in coming decades, cattle and horse operations worth hundreds of millions, and brand value, King Ranch is worth well over $10 billion. Annual revenues from all operations likely exceed $300 million. Richard King paid less than $31,000 for those first 5,500 acres in 1853. Today, his vision has created an agricultural empire that generates more revenue annually than most Fortune 500 companies. The seventh generation of the King family is already involved in ranch operations, ensuring continuity into the 22nd century. King Ranch proves that American agriculture, properly managed and constantly innovating, can build wealth that lasts centuries. They didn't just survive 170 years of droughts, depressions, and changing markets. They thrived through all of it, building something that will endure for generations yet to come.